My best friend asked me to be her maid of honor minus at her wedding to the man who assaulted me. The invitation arrived in a pale blue envelope. My name written in her perfect calligraphy inside was a handwritten note. Emma, will you be my maid of honor? You've been my best friend since we were 7. I can't imagine this day without you by my side. Love. Jess. Attached was a photo of Jess beaming next to her fiancé. David, the same David who pinned me against a wall at a party 3 years ago when Jess was out of town. The same David whose whispered threats still echoed in my nightmares. The same David who Jess had never met when it happened, who I never reported because I was too scared, too ashamed. I stared at the invitation for 20 minutes before calling my therapist for an emergency session. You have options, Dr. Lou said calmly. You can decline without explanation, you can tell Jess the truth, or you can set boundaries that protect your mental health while supporting your friend. But she loves him, I whispered. She thinks he's perfect. That's not your responsibility to manage, Dr. Lou replied. Your only responsibility is to yourself. I declined the maid of honor role with a vague excuse about work commitments, but said I'd still attend as a guest. Jess was disappointed but understanding. I thought that would be the end of it. 3 weeks later, Jess showed up at my apartment unannounced, her eyes red from crying. What's really going on, Emma? We've been friends for 20 years. You've never missed any important moment in my life. The weight of 3 years of silence crushed down on me. My hands trembled as I made us tea. Here is something I need to tell you about David, I finally said, her face changed immediately, defensive walls rising. If this is about his ex-girlfriend from college, he already told me everything. They both moved on. No, I said quietly. This is about me. I told her everything. The party while she was visiting her parents. How David cornered me in the hallway. The things he said, the way he touched me, how I'd fought him off before it went further. How he laughed afterward, said no one would believe me over him. As I spoke, Jess's expression cycled through disbelief, anger, and then something worse. Her doubt. Are you sure that's what happened? She asked when I finished. David said, you flirted with him once at a barbecue. Maybe there was a misunderstanding. My tea grew cold as Jess explained all the reasons I must be confused. David was gentle. David volunteered with rescue dogs. David had never shown any red flags. He told me you might be jealous, she finally admitted. That you've been distant since we got engaged because you are still single. The betrayal felt like ice water in my veins. I've been distant because I can't stand being in the same room as him. Jess left shortly after promising to figure things out. 3 days later, she texted, I talked to David. He says nothing happened. I believe him. I still want you at the wedding. We've been friends too long to throw that away. I didn't respond. The wedding was scheduled for June at a vineyard outside the city. As the date approached, mutual friends asked why I wasn't in the bridal party. I gave vague answers about work commitments. Some seemed to accept this. Others gave me strange looks, and I realized David and Jess had been sharing their version of events. A week before the wedding, my doorbell rang. It was Sarah, another friend from our group. I'm not staying long, she said, stepping inside. I just needed to tell you something. She pulled out her phone and showed me a text thread with a woman named Megan Pert, David's ex-girlfriend from college. After you told Jess what happened, she reached out to Megan to confirm David's story about their mutual breakup. Megan never responded to Jess, but she found me through social media and sent these. The text detailed a pattern of behavior from David: isolation, manipulation, and eventually physical intimidation. Megan had photos of bruises, police reports that never went anywhere, a restraining order that expired years ago. There are 2 others, Sarah said quietly. I've spent the last month talking to them, same pattern, different women. My hands shook as I scrolled through the evidence. Does Jess know? Sarah shook her head. I tried showing her yesterday. She accused me of trying to sabotage her happiness and uninvited me from the wedding. The day before the wedding, I received another text from Jess. I miss my best friend. Please come tomorrow. We can put this misunderstanding behind us. I didn't go to the wedding. Instead, I met with Megan and the other women. We shared our stories, cried together, and began the process of filing formal reports, turned strength in numbers against the man who had hurt each of us. 3 months later, Jess appeared at my door. She looked different, paler, thinner, with dark circles under her eyes. You were telling the truth, she